Hey, it's Josie with Affirmation Pod, your home for self-care and reflection. I hope as you're listening to this, you are noticing how your body feels, aware of the thoughts that are stirring inside your mind, and aware of the feelings that you have going on. I know that's a mouthful, but it's stuff I try to do all the time myself, and especially lately. So yeah, I hope you're checking in with yourself. I want to say thank you to every single one of you who is connected with me in Instagram. I'll remember Q1 of 2017 as where I learned a ton of you listen through Spotify. And I'm going to remember Q2 of this year is where I learned that a lot of you hang out and know what you're doing over at Instagram. I'm starting to get there. The person that I wanted to give a shout out to last week and I couldn't figure out where to find her again. It's Katie. I did find you and I found you because I searched #AffirmationPod. So Katie, thank you for listening. Thank you for the shout out on Instagram and thank you for using #AffirmationPod. Today's episode is actually on technology, not necessarily social media, but technology. It's an audio blog episode. This is the second time actually that I'm recording because the first time I wanted to do a summary wrap-up episode based on the Tech Life Harmony group that I ran in January and February of this year. But as I was recording it, I'm like, what would probably be a better fit for a podcast episode on this is to actually come out and challenge you on your tech life habits, harmony, balance, whatever you want to call it, instead of giving a summary of what the accountability group was. For those who don't know, I came up with this idea at the end of December 2016 to run an accountability group for Tech Life Harmony, and it was pretty transformative for me and for the other group members. So I am going to weave examples into this episode of things I've done, they've done that have been helpful. But I want to start with my first question, which is, what do you want in your life? Like if we were sitting across the dinner table and I asked you, what do you want in your life? What would you say? And I want you to hold that answer with you throughout this entire episode because I'm going to be referring back to it. It's very critical. I'm not here to poo-poo on technology because it is like this incredible 24-hour personal assistant, professional assistant, productivity assistant, organization assistant. I mean, it's fantastic, the stuff that technology can do. But the flip side of the coin is if you're not holding your own, you can become a slave to it. And it is an awful master. It's an amazing helper, assistant, servant for you, but it is a terrible master because when your technology is in control of you, it ain't going to look pretty and it ain't going to help you get to where you want in life. So that probably gives you a taste of where we're headed for this episode. It's a bit of a departure to the affirmation episodes that I've had recently, but all that learning, growing, developing, healing, recovering, it's going to happen so much better if your tech life harmony is in place. Not tech life chaos, not tech life slavery, not tech life overwhelm. So I have 3 challenges for you today. The first challenge is, how are you setting yourself up for tech life harmony? How are you setting yourself up so that technology is your secret weapon in how you're approaching life and getting to what you want in life? Now, one common theme in the Tech Life Harmony group was reducing email. That's one way to set yourself up for success and not be in email overwhelm. One person in the group didn't check email for 3 days and had over 500 emails waiting for her. So she needed to do some weeding in that area. I said before in episode 44 on Tech Life Balance that I use Unroll Me. I still use Unroll Me. That is a free service. Unroll.me is the website. Once you give it permission to connect with your email, it will show you everything you are subscribed to. It still sends me an email every once in a while to say, hey, you're subscribed to this many lists, so I can go in again and just clean it up. So for setting yourself up for success, unsubscribing to email lists where necessary. Now, for me, unsubscribing to email lists wasn't the big thing that I did earlier this year. I started to unsubscribe to podcasts. And I love podcasts. I was subscribed to 53 podcasts. I brought that down to 23 during the group, and I'm down to 11. And that includes Affirmation Pod, so I guess really it's 10. Now, the people I've unsubscribed to, it's not that I'm not their fan anymore. I totally still am, but every so often I can just like go in and binge on a few of their episodes without having to subscribe. And I did that this last weekend with the She podcast. So setting yourself up for success. What do you need to clear out? What do you need to pare down? What do you need to trim the fat from? Something I also did during the group time is I canceled cable. And this probably would have happened regardless if I ran the group. We just don't watch TV that much. And we have a fairly large TV in our living room. I don't know exactly the size, but most people I know have a fair sized TV in their living room. What I like is that the presence, like, how do I say this? What I like is that it's not on very much now. And what I've really noticed is that even though we didn't watch it very much, when we did, it has a very imposing presence because it's such a big TV. And now we might watch something on our iPad, but it's such a smaller presence in our space. And I really appreciate that. I hope I'm saying that right. Now, setting yourself up for success also means having systems in place, right? Like when you take your photos and your videos, are you backing them up? Are you clearing out the things that you don't want or need? Is there a system in place, or is everything just digitally piling up? Because that can weigh on you mentally. It can also rack up your storage. So I love the phrase, sometimes you need to slow down, figure out a system before you can speed up again and really make some strides. Something else that someone in the group did to set himself up for success was he purchased equipment to be able to use Dragon Dictation. He gets headaches from too much screen time due to a concussion from the past. So for him, it was investing. Okay, I'm going to purchase these materials so that I can dictate what I say instead of typing. And that has a learning curve. But again, sometimes you need to slow down before you can speed up. And it helps you get to the goals you want. So that's my first challenge to you. How are you setting yourself up for success? My second challenge for you is, how are you going to execute that success? And when it comes to Tech Life Harmony, a huge one that came up in the group is time boundaries. When it comes to time boundaries, there was a bunch of different strategies put in place by the people in the group. One person said she wasn't going to look at her smartphone during meetings at work. And she even said she found herself one day picking up the phone and then she just promptly put it right back down. And for her, consciously not looking at her phone during meetings, she said she found ways to contribute and listen more closely. And that goes to say that sometimes you feel like your cell phone is like a prison cell, right? You're in it and you can't get out, you can't get away from it, but you can be. You can, if you're in control of what's happening with it, leave it alone and be okay with that. If you are a slave to it, then you will not be okay with keeping it face down during your work meetings or classes or dinner or wherever you tend to pick it up. A couple of people in the group said they don't use their phone at all after 10 p.m. One person said she decided at 10 p.m. she's going to read a book instead of scrolling through social media apps. Someone used SnapTimer as a way to keep screen time limited to 20 minutes. One group member used the app Off Time because it helps you limit your usage on certain apps. And so when I ask you, what do you want in your life and how will you get there? When it comes to time boundaries, it's me asking you, how will you spend your time this week? Whatever those things you want in life are, how will you spend your time to get to that goal? I haven't used this, but I've heard of an app called Moment where it actually can give you how many times you've picked up your phone in a day. And I think that can be really helpful because we are the sum of the small decisions we make every day. And let's say if we've made 100 decisions in a day to pick up our phone, when you add up all that time, that's time that could have gone somewhere else if you chose to. So again, first challenge is, how will you set yourself up for your success? The second challenge is, how will you execute? And my third challenge is, how are you outsmarting your smartphone? Because the smartphone, that's where we can get into trouble. We can lose our focus. We can lose our momentum. I gave this example in a Facebook Live I did. One morning, my daughter asked if she could wear her Elsa princess dress. And I said, sure. I think it's downstairs. I'll go get it. I went downstairs, had my phone in my hand, And then an email came in from a friend about a kids event that we would love to attend. So I walked back upstairs and there's my daughter, big smile on her face, ready to wear her princess dress. And I looked at her and I was like, oh yeah, I went downstairs. I had one job to do, get your princess dress. Totally got distracted. Totally lost that mental focus. And went back downstairs, got the dress, came back up. And that was a reminder for me, I need to make sure this smartphone keeps me focused and not distracted. And I'm going to call out Facebook on this one. They are so smart. They are brilliant. And like I say, if you can use it as your ninja personal, professional life assistant, oh my, so amazing. But there is kind of an element where you got to outsmart your own smartphone. So someone in the group decided to log out of her Facebook app on her phone and only log into it on weekends. Another person deleted the Facebook app altogether. I did something that probably should go under the first challenge, which is how do you set yourself up for success? But I actually unfollowed everyone. And in the group, I said I was going to try it, give it a week. I actually haven't gone back. It's like, well, now it's like 4 months later since I said that, and I haven't gone back. And it's been so freeing. And I thought I'd have a lot more FOMO about it. But the reality is whenever I want to check in on a friend, I can just like go to friends and look at their whole feed. And usually it's like, oh, they don't post as often as I thought they did. It's just that whenever I had like this big news feed and their posts were mixed in with like, other people's posts, it felt like they were posting way more often. So one of the podcasts I still subscribe to is The Showrunner, which is a podcast on podcasting. And there's two guys who host it, Jared and John. Jared, in one of his episodes, says he has removed Twitter and his web browser from his smartphone. And John has said he's removed Twitter and Facebook from his phone. So now these guys still use it, just not on their phone. I'm not going to be running any Tech Life Harmony groups anytime in the future, but feel free to post something you're doing for Tech Life Harmony in Instagram. And I'm going to start by posting a post from Buzzy Mitchell on Instagram because she listened to episode 44 where I talked about Tech Life Harmony. I think I called it Tech Life Balance back then. And something I said there, pay attention to your attention. She wrote that down on a chalkboard at home, and it's what she sees when she first walks in the door. So I want to post that. I'm going to hashtag it Affirmation Pod. I'm going to hashtag it Tech Life Harmony. But I'd love to see what you're doing for Tech Life Harmony. Now, just to review, my overarching question is, what do you want in your life? And challenge 1 is, how are you setting yourself up for success to reach what it is that you want in your life? Challenge 2 is, how are you executing after you've set yourself up? How are you executing what you want in your life? And challenge 3 is, how are you outsmarting your smartphone to get what you want in your life? That is my gift for you today. If you enjoyed this episode, if it has brought you motivation, inspiration, and you're ready to take up the challenge, I invite you to leave me a rating in iTunes. 5 stars would be fabulous. You can also write a review if you want as well, but you don't have to. This is Josie with Affirmation Pod. Now go outsmart your smartphone. Thanks for clicking play today. Bye for now.
This has been a Calm Clear Now Network production. Executive producer Shell Hamilton. To discover more meditation, visualization, and affirmation podcasts like this one, visit calmclearnow.com.